What's up traders, welcome to another exciting video on Trading Channel. In this video we're going to be looking at the Sophia Golden version 5 which just released about 24 hours ago. Now this forex robot is currently available on Trading Channel, and as always will be available to those who have previously bought the Sophia Golden version series for free. All you just have to do is to log into your download section, as I'm doing currently now, and you're going to find the Sophia Golden version 5 here. Right, so you can see I have the Sophia Golden version 5, and you could just click on the button here to download this over to your system. We've made so many adjustments to this system with respect to the Sophia Golden version 3, which released about a month ago. And in this video, we're going to be walking you guys through the installation, the setup, and exactly how to trade with this Forex robot. All right, so let's head over to my desktop here. And for Mac users, if you want to navigate to your data folder, all you just need to do is to open your Finder and go to File and go to folder, right? Go to your library, you click on Application Support, and then you navigate to your MetaTrader 4, and then you click on Bottles, MetaTrader 464, Drive C, Program Files 86, and then click on MetaTrader 4. Right, so you're going to find your MQL4 folder here. Right, so you could just tag this as any color here in order for you to access this quickly. All right, but if you're using Windows, all you just need to do is to click on File and click on Open Data Folder. All right, so that's just all you need to do. All right, so I'm going to open my MQL4 and open my experts folder here. So I currently have downloaded the Sophia Golden version 5 already. I'm just going to open the experts folder. I'm going to copy this expert folder here, and I'm going to paste it back in the experts directory. All right, I'm going to replace this, and then I'm going to open the preset folder. This comes with one preset folder. It's called the universal set file. And the reason why we named it the universal set file is because you can actually use this same set file to trade other pairs. All right, it's not just for Euro USD now. You can also use it to trade other USD pairs like USD CHF, USD NZD, and the rest of the other USD pairs. All right, so I'm just going to copy this preset file here, and I'm going to paste it in my presets folder. Right, so you can see my presets folder here, and I'm going to paste it. All right, so for those of you using Windows and you want to access your data folder, just click on File and click on Open Data Folder. All right, and now you're going to see your data folder here. So once you download the EA, you can copy the experts into the experts folder, and then you copy the preset file, which is universal.set, into your preset folder. All right, so that's that for those using Windows. Now let's go over to install this Forex robot. All right, so I'm here on my terminal currently on my Mac, and I'm just gonna open a new Euro USD chart. All right, so I'm gonna make sure this is on the 15 minutes time frame. And now that's set up, the first thing I'm gonna do right now is head over to my tools, head over to options, and make sure I have allow automated trading turned on. I'm also going to make sure I have allow DLL imports turned on and allow web request as well. Alright, but the web request isn't necessary for this Forex robot, but it might be essential for other Forex robots, so you want to make sure to leave that turned on. Alright, you can also ensure to have these buttons here unchecked, because as it says, disable auto trading when account has been changed, and they do not want that. Alright, so now that's done, you also make sure that this button is showing green and is also clicked as well. Alright, now once we have that done, we're going to click on our navigator terminal, and we're going to right click on this terminal, and then we're going to click on refresh. So once that's done, we're going to open expand our experts directory here, and we're going to click on the Sophia Golden version. Alright, so now that's done, we can just load the set file. You can see the universal set here, and then we click on open. Click on OK. So as you can see, the bot has initiated successfully. All right, you can see it's smiling here, and if you go to our journal here, you can see Sophia Golden version Euro M15 has been loaded successfully. All right, so this Forex robot is more of like a trend trader now. It detects trend and it trades the trends as well. All right, but it isn't fully automated with respect to closing trades, and I'm going to show you why in this video. All right, so let's do a quick back test of this Forex robot here for me to explain everything properly to you guys. All right, so let's just look at the expert properties. For the input section here, let's load the Sophia golden version. All right, so let's open this on Euro USD. All right, and we are trading from June till the current date. All right, so let's look at the expert properties here. All right, the first expert property we have is the risk. This risk here is the maximum amount you want to risk per trade. Right, we have that to 1.0, which is 1% of our current account. So let's say we have about $200, which means we are willing to risk about $2 per trade. Right, the second thing we have is our equity lock, right, which is very important for Forex robots. We have our equity lock integrated with the Sophia golden version as well. This means that you can actually set a maximum profit target and a maximum risk target as well. The maximum profit target is the maximum amount of profits you want to reach before you disable auto trading and close all trades, and the maximum risk target is your maximum risk threshold which you want to actually lose before disabling auto trading and close all trades. The reason why this is important is because in case you're not around and something happens, maybe your expert advisor fails, or it maybe miraculously does very well and produces an amount of profits, you either want to lock it on both ways. All right, so let me just show you a quick example here. Let me just go back to the expert advisors, go to properties here, and you can see we have equity lock enabled here, but our maximum profit target and our maximum risk target is at a value of 0. This means that the expert advisor equity lock isn't going to be triggered, right? So let's just set this value to a current amount here. We have about $193 on our account, so let's just set this value and maximum profit target to 250. All right, and our maximum risk target to 210, right, which is obviously higher than our current account balance, right? So if you click on OK here and give it a second to run the tick, you can see auto trading has been disabled, right? And if there was any previous trades, it would have been closed as well. This is because the current account balance we have is about $192, and we put our maximum threshold to about $210, which is roughly higher than our account balance. So equity lock was called and auto trading was disabled. This means that if you had any trades on, they would have been closed, right? It's just like a safeguard against blowing your account, right? So we're just gonna go to our expert advisors and disable equity lock. All right, so we're just going to disable equity lock, but I always advise you to keep this enabled. All right, it's very, very important that you do. It's more like a fail-safe to your account. The next thing we have is the maximum candle length, and this maximum candle length is the maximum amount of lengths that you want the candle to reach when the price has detected a trade. We have this at 50 and we have the minimum candle length as 20. The reason why we have this is because the earlier stage of a candle formation actually has a higher probability of whether the candle is going to be bullish or bearish, right? So we have this at 20 and we have this at 50, and we also have the tick sum now set at 1.0, and we also have the modified TP range and the modified SL range, right? These are values that will be modifying your stop loss and take profits depending on the length you want it to be modified at. All right, so we also have the tick sum range, custom moving average. This is a very good method here. All right, it helps us optimize based on the moving average. All right, I'm going to show you guys this via code maybe in the next few weeks from now. All right, so you can actually modify the moving average to know the best moving average at which the price is respecting. All right, and then we have the last tick value here, and then we have the buy RSI and sell RSI. All right, so these RSI values actually helps to avoid fake trends. All right, so we need to ensure that the sell RSI is actually greater than 35 and the buy RSI is actually less than 75 before entering a trade. All right, so we have the minimum pre-value. You can actually ignore these two values. We have the support breaker value as well. All right, so for the support breaker value, this simply means that the current price or the current ask or bid needs to be either higher than the previous 50 candles as stated here, or lower than the previous 50 candles for a trade to enter. Now, the higher this value, the more likely that you're going to get an accurate trend, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get an accurate trend. All right, and lower this value, the more you get fake trends. All right, and the modifier tick, which is 1, it's currently set when you have to modify your TP range. And for the close by pip value, let's say we want to close the trade when the trade reaches a particular pip length from the order entry. All right, you can actually enable close by pip here and then set the pip value here. All right, but we have that disabled currently. And for the break-even value, I'm going to show you this on backtest. All right, simply means to enable the break-even function whenever we reach 100 pips. All right, so we also have the entry TP point, which is currently set at 500, and the SL point, which is currently set at 100 pips. Right, it means when we enter a trade, with a risk of 1:5. All right, you can see it's 500 is to 100, so that simply means 1:5. Also, for our max spread value, this simply means the maximum spread that the Forex robot can accommodate in order to enter a trade. For us, it is set at 3 because we are currently using an ECN account, and our spread usually varies between 1 and 3, right? So that is very okay for us. If for some reason you're using a standard account or you're using an ECN account that has high spread, you can also change this value here. All right, so for our max trades today, we set this at 20 because we don't want to exceed 20 trades per day. This is if you're using expert mode. Right, the expert mode basically enters a lot of trades. Right, so for that you set your max trades. All right, but for a beginner mode, we don't usually exceed between 2 to 3 trades in a day because we are basically trading trends. All right, and we don't get that much trades in a day. All right, the expert advisor could even go 2 or 3 days without a trade because if it doesn't detect any trend, it's not going to place any trade. All right, and sometimes it actually detects this trend and it turns out to be a fake trend. All right, so we have enable break-even enabled, we have the modify stop loss disabled, and the modify take profit disabled as well. All right, so we currently have these 2 disabled at the moment, and maybe I could show you this on backtest. Hopefully I'll show you in this video. And then we had the risk mode here to beginner. All right, set this to beginner, but in case there's an aggressive trend, you could set that to expert, but I don't recommend that. All right, it's for advanced traders that want to make a lot of money, the little amount of money. Right, set that to expert. And then for the last trade loss, is a method that checks the last trade. All right, the last trade was a loss and that trade was a sell. It's no longer going to enter sell trades. All right, it's going to enter a buy trade if the buy condition is true. And the last trade was a buy, it's not going to enter a buy trade anymore. Okay, it's going to enter only sell trades. This helps us to limit the amount of fake trends we can actually spot, all right, in a given time duration. So we have buy trades as on and we have sell trades as on as well. Right, so you can actually turn the buy trades off and the sell trades off as well. Right, if you've done your price structure analysis and you're hoping for the price to actually go up or the price to actually go down, you could enable or disable one of these. We also have ultra recovery here. Ultra recovery is basically a method that closes trades once the price gets to a particular amount. Right, so we have the cumulative profit here at 0.5 and the ultra recovery. All right, so if you enable ultra recovery and then you set your cumulative profit to maybe 0.5, whenever a trade gets to 0.5 as profit, it's going to automatically close that trade. All right, so I've already talked about the close by pip. Now let's see how this works on our backtest. All right, so I've currently loaded, let me just load the universal set file so you can currently see how everything is. All right, so equity lock doesn't necessarily work on backtest, and there's a reason why. That's by the MQL4, the MQL5 developers. So let's just look at how this works. All right, so I'm just going to start this out here, and I'm going to make sure this is a candle. I'm going to play this. All right. So as you can see here, right now, we currently have a trade here. You can see this is a buy trade. This is where it set the stop loss, right? As directed by inputs, the stop loss was set to 100 pips. Right, you can see 100 pips, and the take profits was set to 500 pips. Right, as you can see here, take profits was set to 500 pips. Right, you can see that's 500 pips. And let's just expand this out. Expand it out to see. So when the value got to 100 pips, our break-even function was triggered. Right, as you can see here. And the break-even function doesn't just trigger when the price gets to 500 pips. Right, the break-even function also increases. All right, continues placing the break-even at the low of the trend. All right, if there is a trend. Let's just increase this. Let's see if it's going to get to that. All right, and the advantage of the break-even is that the moment you get to 100 pip on a trade, you actually execute break-even, which means you're safe and you don't expect to turn out on a loss on that particular trade. All right, and it also helps you to target the lows. Right, this means that if the price actually comes down, maybe if it was a trend and actually comes down, you get to cash out from the trade. All right, so let's just play this to see. You can actually see that the break-even closed. All right, because it placed at the low and the price came down to hit that low. All right, so you can see the price closed here. Let me see if I can actually show you more examples. You can see the price entered the buy trade again. It detected the trend here, and once we got to 100 pip, it actually closed that trade. All right, and it ended up in the break-even. All right, although I think that break-even modified a little bit before it closed. But one of the disadvantages of the break-even function is that if the price actually comes down a little bit and then goes back up, you end up missing out on that trend opportunity. Right, that's one of the huge disadvantages of break-even. Right, but if you're risk sensitive, then that's fine for you. All right, so let's just keep playing this out. Let me see if we're going to detect any fake trend here. All right, so you can see we actually had a fake trend here. All right, the price was actually higher than the previous, I think, 50 candles, and we entered a long position here, but the next candle hit our stop loss. All right, so that was a fake trend, but since our risk to reward is roughly about 1:5, and although we haven't hit our take profit here, but we are likely to be in profit now. We should look at our graph here. You can see we are in profit. Right, so let's just play this out. And one of the most important things that I wanted to show you guys here was actually closing manually. Right, this expert advisor isn't necessarily perfect. Right, so once it detects a trend, you can actually modify the break-even function or even the discipline function to a support or a resistance level. All right, so if I could show you a good example here, that would be this. All right, so as you can see here, this is currently a resistance level. All right, we had a buy trade here. All right, so if the next resistance level was supposed to be here, right, and we had a buy trade here, we could have actually set our take profit to this level. All right, so once it hits that, we actually close out rather than ending up in break-even function here. All right, so that's just an example of using a manual analysis to actually modify the take profits or the stop loss. All right, so let's just look at this. You can see we also had another fake trend here. All right, and expect to see a lot of this. All right, because the expert advisor isn't necessarily perfect, and there's a reason why the risk to reward is 5:1. All right, so we could end up with 5 losses, but 2 winning trades will counter all those 5 losses and end up in profits. Right, and the beauty thing about this is we have also the last trade loss executed here. Right, so basically we have a buy trade here, and the buy trade also ended up in a loss. We wouldn't expect to get another buy trade. Right, you can see we had another loss here. All right, so let's just keep on playing this out. But although if you enable last trade loss, you're not going to get another buy trade here. All right, so you could have avoided this loss. But the thing about the disadvantage of last trade loss is that, let's say this is a resistance level and the price is weighing in on that resistance level and is getting so many fake trends, it could eventually turn out to be a trend. All right, and then you miss out on that opportunity. Right, so that's one disadvantage of a last trade loss there. All right. So you can see the price picked up a sell position here, right, and also ended up in profit. All right, and then you could be asking, why didn't it enter a trade here? All right, why didn't it enter a trade here and then end up in a lot of profit? Sometimes that's how Forex works. All right, and the beautiful thing about this is a Forex robot. As long as the trading conditions are not met, it's not going to trade. All right, it doesn't care where the market goes or how the market goes. All right, as long as the trading conditions are not met, it's not going to place a trade. All right, so let's just continue looking at the chart here. I may not necessarily play this back test to the end. I just want to show you guys how to trade this Forex robot. All right, so as you can see here on the back test here, right, I told you guys something about the break-even function previously, and I told you that if the break-even function isn't executed, you could actually end up in a winning position. So I'm not really sure if we hit our stop loss here, but let's say we didn't hit it, all right, and the price reversed back a little, we could have ended up in a lot of profits. All right, sometimes the break-even function is good, sometimes it's not, right? But in this scenario, we prefer to use the break-even function, right, because it does more good than harm. Right, as you can see, it takes very few trades now, unlike the Sophia golden version 1 or 2 that would have probably entered a lot of trades now. Right, so basically just prefer to hold long trends and take profits as much as we can, right, from the long trends, and probably relax back for the rest of the days and allow the market to do whatever it wants. Okay, you can see that this is another trend that it detected here, and the profit was set to 100 pips, and we hit break even at how many pips? Let's look at this. How many pips? Roughly about 200 pips, right? We break even at 200 pips. That was roughly about 2:1, right, of our profit. You can see we currently hit a loss right now, right? You can also see here, all right, the break-even function was triggered, and like I said, the break-even function will continue modifying as long as it keeps detecting lows. All right, so you can see it enter the trade here, all right, and the break-even function keeps going. All right, so like I said earlier, that's one of the disadvantage of a last trade loss. All right, so you can see we had a buy trade here right now. The price kept weighing in on this resistance here, all right, and finally broke the resistance into a profit level. If we had the last trade loss executed, we wouldn't have had a trade here, right? I would have lost out on this profit here, all right. And also, if you look at it again, you'd notice that if we didn't have break-even function executed here, right, we would have possibly ran all this out and ended up in a lot of profit as well, right? But I prefer the break-even function, like I said earlier, and in this scenario I prefer the last trade loss. All right, so you can see here we have a trend here. This is roughly about roughly about 300 pips now, and break-even function is set to roughly about 200 pips, and take profit is currently set to about 500. All right, so whichever way that goes, as you can see, we came down to it break-even at 200 pips, right? All right, so let's look at this. Was there a support here? Let's just continue. All right, so you can see the break-even function again has been triggered. Buy trade. All right, so I think we had our first take profit hits for the month of June. You can see $500 here. If you look at the graph here, it's looking really good, right? So we had $500 here, take profit hits for the month of June, right? And as a trader, that should be enough for a month, right? Roughly about 5 to 10% profit should be enough for a month. You can see we had another sell trade here, and in 2 candles we hit our take profit. All right, break-even function wasn't even triggered here. Look at the graph now, that's a really good profit, right? That's roughly about 15% now, and that should be enough for any trader for the month, right? You can see we even went down to start about 800 pips. That's about 700 pips, right? So I might just end this at the month of June, this backtest at the month of June. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at the Trading Kernel support team at support@tradingkernel.com, or you can just visit the website and contact the live support. Right, so you can see buy trade here, break-even function was triggered at about roughly 10 to 20 pips here. All right, so for our futures bots for Binance, we are currently done with the development, and that should be out by this weekend, right? And hopefully I'm going to make it free for the first 50 people who are going to be online by then to download the robots. It's a futures bot and it has returned a lot of profit since 2017. We are going to drop the developer files on our Trading Kernel Stack platform for those of you who want to go over it, or maybe copy some of the methods into a bot you're developing. All right, so this is the June performance of the Shreya bot of the Sophia Golden version 5, and I must say it's really good all around. All right, it might not perform every month like this, but you can see this was a good month, right? Looking at the graph here, you can see this was a good month. Right, this was also a profit as well. All right, so let's just do one more. Let's take this to October, right, which is the current month, to date. So we're just gonna test this out here to see how it performed in this month. All right, so this is the current month that we are in. We want to see how this Forex robot performed. Right, you can see we had a buy trade here, which we hit our take profit on. Right, we currently had a buy trade here, which we hit take profit on. You can see we had a 5% win, and since our account balance at the $200 and we are risking 2% of our account, we ended up making 5% profit, which is 5 times 2, which is $10. All right, so you can see we made a $10 from a profit trade here, and then we had a sell trade here where we lost $2. Right, that was our risk. So we currently have $8 profit. The amazing thing about the Sophia Golden version 2 is that it does auto lot sizing. Right, so basically, since our account is now $208 from these two trades here, 2% of our account would no longer be $2 again. All right, 1% of our account rather is no longer be $2. It's now going to be the 1% of $208. All right, so you can see we also had a trade here as well. If you go to the results, you can actually see here we had a profit of 2.24 and a loss of 2.10. Right, so you can see that when we had the trade of $210, our 1% was now $2.10. Right, so that's one of the benefits of auto lot sizing. It comes with that, and as you can see here, the trend kept going down. Right, and I said that this was one of the disadvantages of the Sophia Golden version break-even function. Right, so you can see that we hit the low here, which was kind of really bad. Right, as we came down here to hit profits at over, I think this should have exceeded 500 pips. Is about 700. And so guys, this is a very good example of what I'm about to describe right now. Right, as you can see, this is a downtrend. All right, it's going down, and the next resistance could be here. Next resistance could be here. Right, so if you're a smart trader, you could have, disable the break-even function and allow the trade to come down. right, in order to test this level, right? Test this level here. You see we had a losing position here. So you can see it didn't actually take any trade from the October 6th to the October 10th, right? And 11th now. So for those of you who are going to be, getting worried about the fact that the Forex robot isn't taking that much trades, you can actually see here, right, in the backtest, it isn't taking much trades. It's not because it's not detecting a trend. It's simply because it's not detecting simply because the trading conditions are not yet met. All right, so you can see here we had a buy position here, and it's really sad that we ended up in a break-even function, right? So that's one of the best advantage of break-even function. If we had left that trade, we could have possibly ended up in a loss here, right? So you can see we actually, at the high, our profits was roughly about around 300 pips, which was really sad because we closed at about 50 pips, right? But overall, you can see here from our results, we are currently at $208 profits, and from our graph, as you can see, so that isn't really bad for the month of October, right? If you're using a larger account, let's say you're using about a $20 account, you could have made roughly about $800 now as profits for the month of October, which is really good, right? You can see we had a losing position here, so we just lost $2 here. And you can see the break-even function here was triggered in order to avoid this huge loss here, right? Break-even function was triggered here, and we hit the loss here. So I don't think I've said this in this video, but I'm going to say it right now. This is not a Forex robot that's going to make you $1 million in a day, right? Or it's going to make you $10,000 in few minutes. All right, this is a Forex robot that is actually a profitable system, but you need to understand how to use it. You need to understand how it works. You need to understand the best time to trade it. You need to understand when not to use it, right? You can see I think we had a losing position here. Maybe that was break even. This was maybe break even as well. But you can see we had a profit here. All right, so we hit that 500 pip mark, which is really, really awesome. All right, so if you look at our results here, we have about $212 profit right now. All right, which is almost about 6 to 7% profit. All right, look at our graph. That looks good, right? Isn't necessarily a smooth and straight curve, but the awesome thing is that at the end of 500 or 100 trades, we end up in profit, right? So we just had a losing position here, and that's fine because that's very little compared to our profit position, right? And there's this weird thing about the Sophia golden version. I have noticed if it enters a trade, and if it enters a trade and the trade ends up hitting the profit position, the next trade is likely to be a loss, right? I don't know why that is, but the next trade is likely to be a loss. So you guys can comment on that on Trading Cannot Stack. Let's talk about that. As you can see, we currently hit another losing position here, right? So if that turns out to be not a myth but a real fact, you could actually end up reducing the leverage or reducing the amount of risk you want to risk per trade to maybe 0.5% whenever you end up in a winning position. Or you could just stop trading for the rest of that day, right? All depends on what you want as a trader. This just gives you the entry and possibly the risk, right? And then it helps you control the amount of profits or losses you could make, right? So as you can see, I think we've currently had about 3 losses since our last trade, which means we've lost about 3%, right? While in one profit trade we made 5%. That means that we are currently still in 2% profit rather, right? It isn't all magic, all right? We make profits, we make losses, but at the end of the day, what matters is that we end up in profit, right? So as you can see, we just had another winning position here, and then the mid, like I said, we ended up hitting a loss here, right? But I think that loss was very quick, and I think would have made another profit here if we had our loss a little bit accommodated downwards, but that's fine, right? That's very fine. Let's just look at this on the bigger level. All right, we had a buy position here, all right, and maybe you could have let that run, let that run upwards, and you could have made a lot of profits, possibly for the next month. But what I wouldn't advise is you modifying your stop loss. All right, I wouldn't advise you do that because it's going to alter your risk. All right, I wouldn't advise you modify your stop loss or maybe even your take profit. Right, that's being greedy. I would advise that you leave it the way it is and maybe modify based on structure. Right, only take profit based on structure. I think that's it. We are currently at the 28th of October, and yeah, so that's it. So if you look at our results here, we ended up at $212. We had a high of about, I think, $214 here. Yes, we had a high of $214. Looking at our report here, we had 17 trades in the month of October. We had $12 profits. We had a drawdown of about 6.22%, right? And then we had $12 profit, which is amazing. You can see we had short positions won. We had about 33.3% of our short positions won, and we had about 42% of our long positions won, right? This doesn't necessarily make the 50% gap, but because we have our risk to reward, which is very high, right, you can expect that we actually end up in profit, right? So you can see the graph here, you can see how it looks. So guys, that's it for the Sophia golden version. Like I said, the Share futures bot will be released by the end of the week, and I'm hoping to give it to 50 people for free. Right, you can actually trade it on the test net and on the live net as well, and we'll be providing the tutorial for that. Right, so if you have any questions, like I said earlier, you can reach out to support@tradingkennel.com or head over to our community and open a discussion, whatever you prefer. So guys, I believe this is, and I would see you in the next video. Bye for now.